So I'm just in the check.
How come this class is not about midterm on like just in the middle of
You want a midterm?
all my other classes midterms?
I mean, they want them. I don't know.
Not really, but
Don't you get enough tests? You want me to make another one?
That's what I'm saying. Like, honestly.
I thought it was my gift to you that I didn't do a massive midterm in the middle.
massive.
Hey, don't.
Don't listen to him. Okay, I will not listen to him.
Hey, we can do
All right. So for the record, why don't I do a midterm? Because
that. Next semester.
I don't think it's necessary. You're doing comprehensive tests every time we take a test in here because everything builds on itself. So why give you a major grade to not do well on? If you've been doing everything you should have been doing all the way up, you should already know the information.
Trying to dry snitch on
I try to believe the best in all of my students, and I believe that you all are way, learning the material and you're sticking with me, and it's not necessary.
Hey, that's how it should be.
That sounded good, right? All right. I know all the eCore classes have midterms that you have to go take proctored, and that's to eliminate some of the cheating.
Never had a problem.
If you take an eCore class, specifically eCore, not a West Georgia online class, but an eCore online class, you have to have at least one proctored exam. It may not be the midterm, but in my
So like,
memory, that every time my experience, everybody does it as the midterm.
so like a professor has to be there.
You have to pay to go take it in the testing center.
Wait for online only?
Mhm.
Oh, so if it's like. an
Yeah,
in-person
because
class.
my son had to go take one last week. It is what it is. I could put in a midterm. You can go make one. I can go make one.
Next semester. Oh, so-
It's never too late for me to give you another test. Actually, speaking of that, we got a test coming up. Exam 3 needs to happen as soon as we finish 6. So probably open it over the weekend.
When would we do?
I don't know, sometime middle of next week.
Oh, that's fine.
Next one. I do the day of. No. Just it's-
The comedy act in here is great. So. All right, so let's get to this. We are going to be working on Lab 6. I am recording, so all of your comedy is going out there to the nether. Unless I remember to edit, and I haven't done that in a while, so I keep forgetting to edit videos. Hopefully I don't say anything that shouldn't be recorded. All right, moving on. So we left off, I did the lecture last week for 6. And this week we are going to do the lab today, and then on Wednesday I will run you through the assignment, at least part of it, just because it's a weird week. And then we don't have a lot going on this week, so I will probably get the exam up and running. All right. I see a lot of nodding. At least you're awake, I guess. All right, so lab 6, let's do it together like we always do. And then we will, hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody will have much better time with the directions on assignment 6 than they did assignment 5, because there seems to be a lot of confusion with that. So we're going to do what we always do. We are going to start a new file, and we're going to save it as our name or whatever it is. So for my purposes, it's going to be Lab 6 on the desktop, because everything on this computer gets wiped as soon as we leave. Right? All right. Go to the following chapter in the book, Randomly Walking Turtles, and copy the code that is iteration 2. Oh, great. All right, so we're gonna have to go look for it. They moved it. Maybe.
Wow.
That was not what I wanted. Where's downloads? There it is. I'm not sure that's the right code. I don't want to log in. Me. 8.4. Hate it when they move stuff around and my links don't work anymore. Not an 8.4.
It should be like 7.
Control F.
We all know.
I won't let me use the log. Then again, maybe not. Y'all must be logged in. Randomness.
Yeah, I just Googled randomly walking turtles and it was like the first thing. And it's 8.4.
It is. Look, watch this. 8.4.
It should be check setting. Oh, never mind. My bad.
Y'all obviously have a different book than I do.
And then ours is copy.
What chapter is it in with? What are some of the other things in your chapter?
Iteration where you're not revisited, the for loop revisited, the while statement. And then after it.
It should be set.
Iteration.
Email them a complaint.
Wow, that'll say we upgraded the book. It's not that one. Let's try this.
They're trying to hide.
While.
Well, that's it. That's it. It's an orange.
All right, so we're gonna grab all this, right? And we're gonna copy it. I'm gonna paste it in here. Right? And once we've got it copied, we're gonna run it and make sure it works, because with copy paste always, you know, you never can tell. You have to make sure. So let's run it. We're gonna save it. Right? So this one randomly makes right or left-hand turns, 90-degree turns, and it doesn't change any colors. I showed you briefly while I was looking for the file what your finished product's gonna look like. I can show you again if you want to, but we're going to have it change colors and throw in some 45-degree turns as well as the 90-degree turns. Sounds simple enough, right? The colors don't have to be random this time. So it's even easier than project one, actually. Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay if my turtle only like went like five turns?
Yeah, as soon as it touches the edge, it stops.
Then
Done.
All right, so let's look at the code real quick. Let's do what I call code walking or stepping through the code. Just because we're using somebody else's, you ought to understand what we're using, right? So really quickly looking at this code, I guess I need to make this bigger for you guys in the back. All right, so we're importing random, which is great, right? Because we need to go a random number of times. We're going to import turtle. This function def is in screen is pre-written for you. What that function does, and you don't have to read, we didn't want you to recreate it on your own, but it uses stuff you don't necessarily know about the turtle classes, right? Is it goes out and it checks the width of the screen, and it decides where the edges are, and it keeps up with that. So the turtle knows when it touches one of the edges. That way, your turtle doesn't just randomly move off the screen and you never see it again. You'd hate to have a lost turtle. You'd hate to have to go looking for it. So does that make sense? So this whole first part here, we're just going to pretend that it magically appeared, because it did magically appear because we copied and pasted it. But all it does, like I said, is return if it's still in the string or not, or still in the screen. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, just a second. So once we got that, we created a turtle and a window. I normally do not like for you to do this just as what I call orphan code, because it's not actually in a function. So don't be surprised if the directions tell you to pull it out and put it somewhere else as you move further along, right?
Yeah.
Because I probably would have put it in a main. Then while it's in the screen, it's going to do stuff, right? This right here, exit on click, that means that when you click the X button in the corner, it closes the screen. It's a predefined function for GUIs.
Doesn't it work without putting it in?
Yes, but just go with me. For this iteration, it's in there. It has worked in the past, yes. but you've always been finished running. This lets you stop it while it's still running.
Don't. I just like.
Because when we get in here with random turns and stuff, depending on whether it turned or not, which directions, and how random, you could be there for a very long time waiting for it to get off the screen. Especially if it's making circles. All right, so back to my directions. Where did they go? This window. All right, so we have that. Now we're going to refactor the code, which means we're going to change it to make it to my liking. I'm the only one important in here, right? Because I'm the one grading it. No sense of humor this morning. All right, so we want to refactor the code as follows. In the is-in-screen function, it has a parameter values W and T. W and T don't tell us a whole lot, right? They're my initials backwards, but you know, they're not good variable names, so we're going to change W to window and T to parameter. The T parameter, I'm sorry, T to turtle. I can read sometimes. So everywhere it says W, we're going to change it to window. Everywhere it says T, we're going to change it to turtle. Right? So this is going to become window, and this is going to become turtle. Replace W. Let's see if that works. It did not work. Why is it not working? Ah, there we go. Because I'm lazy. Not sure why it did it that many times, but hey. So you can use find and replace. Just be aware that it could grab a random W somewhere, but I don't think it will on this particular one. And this time I went T. Let's hope. Oh, never mind. Don't do what I just did. That was a bad idea. Everywhere there was a W, it put the word window in. That was a bad idea. So I'm going to find all these and make them window. And all these are going to become turtle.
Wait, so we need to change the stuff up top, or is that just because you? Put something just like place at the bottom?
What do you mean the stuff up top? I started at the top and changed window and turtle.
Okay.
These are all window. These are all turtle. Right? So this is the in-screen function. So in this function, I changed all the windows, all the W's to windows and all the T's to turtles.
So on left bound and right bound, you still have to make all of it window width instead of just W width. I guess that matters. Like it has to be window width. Window dot window.
Isn't that what the original code said?
I don't know.
Yeah. Window width and window height are functions from Turtle. You can't change their names.
No, I meant. Okay, no.
Yeah, so yeah, you're gonna have window. Because the thing on the window on the left-hand side of the dot is your variable name. The stuff on the right-hand side of the dot is your function name. All right, back to my directions. So I did that. We're gonna add doc strings for the is in screen function. So you could put a doc string up here. Right, so that function is going to tell me that the turtle is still in the string or in the window that we opened. I don't care what the doc string is. I'm just trying to see if you can use them. You can just put a regular comment in if it makes you happier. All right. Take the code that creates the window of the turtle and moves the turtle about until it moves outside the bounds of the window. We want to put this inside its own function. Think about what is a good name for this function. Don't forget to add a doc string for the function. So you get to actually name this function. But we want to take this and put it into its own function. So create the window and the turtle. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because, yeah.
You gotta start in the code.
Uh-huh.
You have it. That's
But what did I tell you about
awesome.
using the code from last time you took my class? Yeah. As long as you understand it. So we're going to create a function for this. What do y'all want to name it? A cat eats an apple. No.
I got some trivia.
About very fun.
How about random walk or walking turtle? I don't know.
Random walking apple.
No. And then all of this needs to tab over to be in it, right?
I changed all of the T's.
It doesn't matter right now, but you absolutely can because it tells you to on D. So in the new function, create refactor the variable names T and W in to be more self documenting. And then we need a main function. Right? Oops, didn't have that one over. So T is gonna become turtle again, which means this needs a turtle and a window. Oh, actually, it doesn't need a turtle window, sorry. We just created. It is a Monday morning, isn't it? All right, so I did that. And now I need a main. I always put mine in the beginning. You can put yours in the end. It doesn't matter where you put it, as long as you have one. And in main, we're gonna call walking turtle.
Don't you have to call the is in screen too?
Nope, because is in screen is called in walking turtle. Right
Damn.
here. So I'm good now that I've refactored all that. I'm going to run it again just to make sure it still works because I might have missed a T or a W somewhere. And I forgot to put the main down here, so it didn't work. Right? Which is why. Bound local variable on line 27. Line 27. This is why you have to run it to make sure it works. Why doesn't it like that? I'm trying something. Give me a second. Because the generic is turtle, so I'm giving it a different variable name. Because it didn't run.
Mine's saying that window is not defined on the exit on click. Even though it says window, exit on click.
Do you have it tabbed over?
Screw up.
All right, so we have to make our variable we created different from the generic turtle variable when we create the turtle. So you can call it turtle1, or you can call it some name like Alex or whatever. Right? When we create a turtle, we usually give it a different name besides turtle. Does that make sense? And I'm having a Monday, so I forgot what I was doing. So you can make that Alex, you can make it Bob, you can make it turtle1, you can make it whatever you want it to be, as long as you remember what you're doing with it. Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe.
I know.
All right, so we have done all of part 1 and refactored all the code. Now, is it easier or harder to use somebody's code that you copied and pasted? To me, it's harder because I have to go back and fix it to make it the way I want it.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I literally changed the name to Turtle One. I just got-
Your turtle didn't go anywhere. Make sure that you refactored all of the T's and WNs to the new names.
Yours got played too.
Oh, your one space ball. The E has to line directly up with AF. Yeah, it's a pain. Remember, all of your spacing has to be exact. One little space will screw you up. Again, another reason not to copy and paste code is because the spacing could be different than what your tabs are set on your computer. All right, so that gets us to part 2. In this part, we're going to introduce some new functionality to the program. In doing this, you might want to reread these sections from the book. You'll have to go find them if you're using the newer version of the book. Because I'm betting my links don't work again.
Using the cheat.
Let's click and see. Yep. So the turtle graphics part for this has moved into the textbook. I'll try to remember when I get back to my office to go find them and put the correct links in an announcement. But anyway, you're going to use the turtle graphics and the API. That one should work. Unless we're having just all sorts of problems today. Yes, that one still works. All right. So we're going to modify the functionality so that in addition to randomly turning left or right 90 degrees, there's a third and a fourth options that are added. The third option is that it will turn left 45, and the fourth option is that it will turn right 45. Right? So what we need to do is go look for the section where we do the turns. In this case, it's right here in this while loop. Right? So the while loop is going to run while the turtle is in the screen, because it's calling the function still in screen, right? It's then going to have a coin toss that has two sides. We're fixing to make our coin into a
Dice,
die.
a die.
We're going to call it a die. It's going to be a singular die. So it's going to be a four-sided die. I should remember to bring my dice with me when I do this. So I'm not changing the variable name because I just don't want to go through and do it. But if you want to change it to something else that indicates that it's going to have four choices instead of a coin that has two, feel free. It won't hurt my feelings at all. But so we're going to change this to a 4 because we want 4 options, right? We're not gambling in class. We're playing a game of chance. There's no money being involved here.
Also known as,
So if it's equal to 0, we're turning left 90. I need to add some options. What do you think we should do to add options?
so you should expand the range. Alice random.
I did that. You're a step behind me. I did expand the range of the random.
You need to add else.
We need some else if statements, right? So let's say if it equals 1, we're going to have the turtle go left 45. How about that? Right? And then we need another one. Now, if you're one of those OCD kind of people and you need your left and your rights to line up, you feel free to change them around. You need the right 90 to be before the right 45. That's up to you. I don't care. So now what it's telling me is if it's 0, I'm going to turn left 90 degrees. If it's 1, I'm going to turn left 45 degrees. If it's 2, I'm going to turn right 45 degrees. If it's 3 or anything else, I'm turning right 90 degrees.
Could you define it as 3 for the else? Or is that just like?
If you do, you have to call an else if. There's no test associated with a straight up else.
Okay. That makes sense.
You really want to leave the else there because it catches any unforeseen circumstances. Like if somebody screwed up your range on the random number, it would catch everything that wasn't what you expected.
Makes sense.
So if we run it now, we should have a more interesting picture instead of just boxes. He ran right off the screen that time. Let's do it again and see if we get a different. It should be different every time you run it because it should be random, right? Right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Maybe.
Other-
Hmm. So depending on how he turns, he could stay on that screen forever. If you make your screen bigger, he'll draw longer. So we good so far? Everybody has a turtle that's randomly drawing? Oh, yep.
When mine goes off the screen, it keeps going.
Maybe you didn't define the screen right.
What do you mean it keeps going? How can you see it?
Yeah.
Cause he'll leave and it'll come back.
Oh, well then, yes, you didn't define something
It's
correctly.
just too good.
No, that's what we're trying to prevent.
All right, read this
See
question.
what, see what is off the screen?
All right, close it. Let's see what you did wrong.
Yeah, you read about it.
Oh, look, you have an error message.
This is a simple question. This is like,
All right, what you got? Where's your is in string?
if you can't see it, there it is.
You didn't change any of that, right? Except the squiggles and the windows.
Have you read it yet? I'll send it.
Change that to two.
I don't know.
No, that's it.
No, that's true.
Is that what it was?
Yep, your generic turtle still wandering around.
I give you a trivia question.
No, you can work on code.
Hey, Luke.
After
You
that
want
last
to
one.
trivia question too?
That window line.
One orange.
That's right. All right, it's turning, but it's not moving. Is the forward needs to be in the bottom. So the line, that line up there,
Let's look at the question.
that one,
Yeah,
yep,
bro.
have a little.
That's my bad. Each
Okay.
use one apple. I don't know.
It never moves.
That's exactly what I said.
No, you said. if
Be
you
careful
have
with-
apple,
When we-
Yeah,
when we
did I
talk
not
about
say-
it,
Did I
yeah,
not
it's
say
several-
if she had 5
Right.
apples, eats one apple? How many oranges does she have? Is that not right? Is that not right? That's exactly what it said. I mean, I want to look up.
No,
Exactly what
you
it
said
said.
if you had 5 apples and you can one orange.
No, I said she has 5 apples and eats one apple. How many apples does she have? Yeah. I just don't think it would.
I'm not.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask it again. If Johnny has 5 chicken McChickens,
Go on.
eats one Wendy's
As
McChicken,
opposed to.
how many beef McChickens does Johnny have? No, it's 5. I'll say it again. If Matthew has 5 chicken McChickens, he eats one McChicken. How
But
many
not-
Wendy's McChickens does he have?
Zero.
No, he has 5. Yes, he does. So,
Yes, 5 chicken McChickens, not when you pop chicken.
now, I'll say that, I'll make it even more clear. So, if Julie has 5 steak and shakes, she eats one shake.
Julie's
How many steaks? That we just. Yeah. What you feel?
probably one getting the chicken afterwards.
It's doing something
It
different.
depends.
Or make griddle.
I already ate.
What'd you eat?
I had 3 eggs.
Run it.
Alright, so Bradley had 3 eggs.
Everything's fine.
He also had 5 pieces. of meat.
Why are you talking like this?
How many eggs?
Everything's
fine
fine
with my
program. I have a completely separate question.
Why is it driving me
6 and 7.
It's just something.
Just every time.
Return still.
Goes left or right. This is instruction.
Oh, okay, I got that part.
Yeah,
I love
we
that.
can't on the 35, but you can't.
Charlie,
What?
how many hours of sleep do you
Last night?
Anybody know where the
I
prayers
got
are?
paid.
get? Eat?
The library or the prayer? I think
Went to
there's
bed at
one.
9, woke up at 5.
You go towards the restrooms and the stairs, if you turn left
How many do you
to that hallway and immediately left, or is it
Yeah.
over there? I think you need to park there also. Like, well,
It
you
just
have to
took
pay
me
for
like
it,
10
sorry.
seconds. No, come on.
6.
Why are you going to bed at 1?
Or you can just try to find
I'm not.
a professor that'll print it for you.
Alright, so he just said he
Um,
got 6 hours of sleep. He woke up
Okay,
at 7:30 to come
The
to
GR
class.
had a problem.
Isn't that
Your
1 o'clock?
line that tells it to pull
Why are you
it,
going
so
to bed at
have
1?
to
This is
find
1:30.
Yeah, so why are you going to bed at 1?
tap
On a
that.
Sunday night.
Because if you do it the way you have it,
Right.
it all has.
Were you at Hi-Fi over there on Sunday?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That makes sense. You broke it?
Yeah.
You broke it.
Yeah.
Come see first. You broke it, you broke it.
This end of Python.
Turtle. Here, it's on the left, right? Look at the whole section and the other. No.
Important.
Now, but if you don't, it's not gonna leave.
Last year, what are you doing on Sunday night?
The first.
You must
I did. I know. for that. So, it's for 1 year, you change all of these.
No.
Because
Have you been?
if you just put the generic. It's not, it should. Other languages wouldn't do that. That's native to God. All right, so I think I got most everybody working now. So now the next thing it wants us to do is add some colors, right? Modify the functionality so every time the turtle turns left or right 90 degrees, it places a turtle stamp. Okay, well, wait a minute. I skipped one. Modify the functionality that draws a different color every time it turns. So every time it turns, I need a different color. So in here, I'm gonna do turtle 1 dot color, and I'll make this one red. How about that? And then I can do the same thing for each of these and just change it to a different color. Do you want it to be random? Sure, you can, but why? If you don't make it random, I can make sure it works easier too, but it's up to you.
If you want to make it random, would you have to like define each one and each statement?
Because if you didn't, it wouldn't be it would be as random as you want it to be.
Yeah.
However, I would prefer you for this time being just to leave them one color or the other, because it makes it easier for me to grade. Because if it goes left and it's supposed to be green, I know that it worked, right? If it's random, then I have to sit there and read the code. So now if I do it, you should have a prettier picture with colors in it.
So you can make like this scoop or.
The turtle has an identity crisis. It doesn't know what color it is every time it turns, right? Yeah, it's having an identity crisis. There you go. All right, so that's step 2. Step 3, modify the functionality so that every time the turtle turns left or right 90 degrees, it places a turtle stamp. It needs to place the stamp before changing the color and before turning. So that's telling me that it's going to be the first thing in those sections, right? And it only says to do it on the 90-degree turn, so it shouldn't do it when it turns 45 degrees. So
Makes sense.
who figured out how to do the stamps? So it's turtle 1 dot stamp. Does it take parameters? Well, I know that, but I meant, did it need anything in it? So I just need those on the 90 ones, so. Now when I run it, I have a whole bunch of turtle stamps, right? And if it only does it on the 90-degree turns, it's correct. If it does it on the 45-degree turns, you did something you weren't asked to do. Yours look like you did it every time.
I don't know the direction. Come on.
I'm going to teach y'all, if I don't teach you anything else in this class, I'm going to teach you that following the directions is life or death in computer science. Right?
Mine says, yeah, I think my Python is broken.
Your Python's not broken.
That's because you put it in by messing up.
So the next thing it wants us to do is modify our code to where it keeps up with how many times it's turned. And if it gets to a certain threshold, we want it to stop. So this keeps it from just running indefinitely because it never made it to an edge, right? Does that make sense? Because theoretically, you could be there a very, very long time if your randoms didn't like you.
But isn't it pseudo random?
It is pseudo random, but hey, you go for it. All right, so we're going to modify the functionality to where it doesn't move more than 50 times. If it's made more than 50 turns, the turtle should be tired and needs to take a break.
I saw that too.
So we're going to, and I gave you some clever little hints here, create a counter, initialize it to 0 before the while loop. Within the while loop body, we're going to add a line that increments the counter after the code moves the turtle forward. And modify the condition of the while loop so it checks to see if the turtle is in the screen and if the counter is less than 50. Right? So I told you exactly what to do if you read the hints. So in here, we're going to set up a counter before the while loop. And we're going to set it equal to 0. While it is in screen and counter is less than 50. We want it to do all of this, right? And after it moves, we want to make sure counter goes up. So we're going to add 1 to counter here. Yes? Does that make sense?
What is the counter?
It's a variable that I put in there. It
I
counts.
was thinking like that.
Yo, you come to class. You got McDonald's for class.
That was a bad thing.
Yeah, I wake up. Dude.
No such thing as bad
Counter. I put counter. I just let the ER off count. My fingers and my head don't always agree when I'm typing. Yeah, you could call it count if you want to. But I defined it as counter, so I need to be consistent all the way through. I could have called it count all the way through and it would have been fine, but I wasn't consistent, so it gave me an error thinking it was supposed to be 2 different things. That whole, if one of you guys would be super brilliant and create an IDE that's spell checked, that would be fabulous. PyCharm does spell check? I'll have to go look at it. Even if you created the variable?
I'm pretty sure it. So you're dry snitching on everyone in the class, right? By giving away the keys to the kingdom.
So you could just keep running it. And if you want to test and make sure your and statement worked, you can make 50 a smaller number while you're testing it.
2.
It does.
It should.
For the variables, it tells you it's an unresolved reference.
Oh, dude.
I'm gonna put it in as 10. Just because I want to see if it stops. And it does. So anybody have a question at this point? I feel like we rambled our way through this and it took a long time to get to where we were going, but I think we're finally there.
You don't know that book was like that trouble. I didn't want because it's a beast. I would have J chilled after like 2.
It's stamping. All those triangles, stamping. You have 2 turtles for some reason. You have a different problem than what you think your problem is. So let me see your code.
I thought that was.
Yeah, but you created 2. So somewhere you left the 1 off the turtle. 1. So go back down in there.
Turtle one.
There. No, that's right.
Actually.
All right, come down in here. That one
How
was
white
the
can you
shape,
make it?
it's a turtle 1 option. Now you won't have 2 turtles.
He's the benevolent dictator for life.
You're welcome. You're the second person that had that problem, so. All right, questions for me? One more. Anybody else?
Van Strassen.
If so, we are finished with line 6. You can turn it in and submit it to the report.
Nuclear what? So if Lucas has 5 cats, 1 cat eats an apple, how many apples do those cats eat? I can't read. So you can't listen to them.
You're the only one.
Taking you back.
Why didn't you just do this?
I should have.
All the way around.
I'm way
You
too.
love it so much.
Yeah, I'm way too emotive and not.
You do it, you have to do it, shit.
Right.
That was a mess during PT. People fell out. I ripped it.
I've never called that.
Okay, no, I'm talking like not even run, just that they were lagging, go straight into their room and rip all their linen. I was like, make it again. It was amazing. It turned into like a war zone. It was like every single room would like band together. And then like if you rip,
House or what?
yeah, if you rip one person's
We would
room
have been fine.
in the fleet,
Yeah. In the fleet too. We would be somewhere to do that.
I know what's wrong.
It's not that weird.
Is. They were not inside the mode. The monitors.
I was feeling it. Did you ever get it?
Somewhere in the. One.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, or, you know, or 3 hours, 4 hours. 4 hours, you know. But the things that are-
Oh, yeah, I forgot, but like.
You got it. Okay.
Not kicking us out, are you?
No, they were leaving. I'm saying goodbye to them.
What's bad? Just didn't. I all cheated.